What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, guys, so we are going to continue our coverage over the Knights of X. We're Knights of X number 2 as a way to continue our coverage over Destiny of X. Now remember, when it comes to Knights of X, it's all about the idea that technically this is a sequel to Excalibur. Now when I say Excalibur, I mean the 2018-2019 Excalibur series. Of course, that was part of the COPPA era that launched the Dawn of X for X-Men comics. Now with that being said, Knights of X is all about the idea that right now you have the Excalibur team back together once again, but they have to go on a quest to get one particular item that could actually help them defeat Merilyn and also free Otherworld from his control, but to also stop King Arthur as well. And so here's Knights of X number 2. And so getting into today's storyline, we actually do pick up right now with Merilyn calling a meeting. Now, when it comes to this meeting, it's technically right now Merilyn getting very upset about the idea that technically him and the rest of the kingdoms in Otherworld are unable to actually capture the witch breeds. Now remember, the witch breeds are technically another name for mutants in Otherworld. But either way right now, with mutants technically being banned from Otherworld and you still have mutants in Otherworld, it's Merilyn saying right now, I want all the mutants gone. But the problem is though, right now the mutants are not leaving, but on top of that though, they're able to hide from him and also go against him. And so right now, he's very upset about the idea that him and the rest of the kingdoms are not able to actually deal with the mutants. Now with that being said, some kingdoms are technically on the mutant side. But on top of that though, one of the kingdoms in Otherworld is actually controlled by a mutant, Jim Jasper. And matter of fact, that right there ticks off Merilyn a lot because he believes that Jim Jasper is technically helping his fellow mutants right now get away from Merilyn. And so that is the moment where you have Merilyn say, you are no longer in charge of your area in Otherworld, because Merilyn is technically right now the man in charge of Otherworld. And so he does have the right to say, you are no longer in charge of that particular area. And we kind of find out that he has a new way to cancel out mutant abilities by using Blight Will, and Blight's Will has a way to cancel out mutant abilities, really almost anybody abilities at all. But then we actually pick up with the Knights of X right now contacting Charles, who's right now back on Krakoa. Now with that being said, this is Betsy Braddock and Rachel Summers right now telling Charles about the idea they have to find the Siege of Perilous. Now the Siege of Perilous is actually an old item in Marvel Comics. And matter of fact, in our last video, I think I said it was actually a newer item, but it's not. It's actually an old item. So let me explain. When it comes to the Siege of Perilous, it does have the ability to grant someone a fresh start in life, a new beginning, or technically a new life. And with that being said right now, Betsy Braddock believes the Siege of Perilous could actually help the X-Men out, but also help the people in Otherworld out as well, to hopefully get rid of Merilyn. And so right now, it's her saying, we're stuck here Otherworld, but at the same time, we're going on a quest to find the Siege of Perilous. Now for Charles, he is okay with this idea to actually use the Siege of Perilous because technically it could be used for a whole lot of good reasons. And so he does tell Betsy, go find it, and hopefully you can use it to hopefully defeat Merilyn and save the mutants in Otherworld as well. Now, after that call with Charles Xavier, you then have Rachel Summers and Betsy Braddock here, a fight going on between two other members of the Knights of X. And of course, that would be Kai Lund and also Mordred. Now, when it comes to Mordred, he's actually the more important character. And the reason why, because when it comes to Mordred, we have to remember that technically he is the son of King Arthur. And that right there is actually very huge because King Arthur is right now helping Merilyn out. Now, the reason why King Arthur does not like his own son Mordred is because there was a prophecy that said one day Mordred would come and actually kill off King Arthur. And ever since then and there, King Arthur has been scared of his own son. But on top of that, though, he believes his son is actually evil. But on top of that, he hates the idea of his son being a witch breed, a mutant. Either way, that is the moment where you actually have Bessie Braddock come to find out that something happened to Jim Jasper. And of course, they have to go over to his area, the Crooked Market, to figure out what in the world had actually happened to him. Because it's right now them just finding out that he was actually captured. Now, you do have some members actually go over to the Crooked Market. And with Jim Jasper no longer being around, of course, the Crooked Market is just dead. But here's the big thing though, because with the removal of Jim Jasper, the Crooked Market is technically up for grabs for almost anybody in Otherworld between all the different leaders of the different kingdoms in Otherworld. But at the same time though, it's Merilyn saying, because I know Jim Jasper was technically trying to help out the other witch breeds, the other mutants, with his removal, I will now be able to actually grab the Crooked Market and make it my own. And so when the Knights of X actually get there, they see right now the people of the Crooked Market are scared about the idea of being taken over by, of course, Merilyn. And so right now it's Gambit calling up Bessie and saying, this right now is getting even worse. But they also find out that technically what happened to Jim Jasper, that basically Merilyn did use Blythewell as a way to cancel out his powers. Now, Blythewell has been seen before in X-Men comics, and matter of fact, it is some kind of drink usually, but it had the ability to actually knock out Wolverine. And that right there is kind of funny because Wolverine has a healing factor, and so it's hard for him to actually get drunk. But apparently Blythewell was used as a way to kind of get him drunk, and also Storm as well. But right now it's Bessie Braddock getting very concerned about what Merilyn is going to do next. But then we jump over to Bessie Braddock and the rest of Knights of X, who are right now with Lady Roma. Now remember, Lady Roma is actually the daughter to Merilyn, but right now she's on the side of the mutants. And matter of fact, her kingdom is technically a hideout for the mutants right now. Either way right now, this is Bessie Braddock asking Lady Roma to watch over Shogo. Now remember, Shogo is actually the the son of Jubilee. But apparently though, when he comes into Otherworld, he turns into a dragon. And the reason why, because his imagination is so wild that technically every single time he comes into Otherworld, he turns into a dragon. Now with that being said, you have Bessie right now asking Lady Roma to watch over Shogo, because right now technically this battle is getting too dangerous for a baby. And yes, he is a dragon, a very powerful dragon, but at the same time she wants to protect Jubilee's son. Now this is also Lady Roma saying, you know what, I will protect him, but I will also train him as well, because I'm telling you, sooner or later you are going to need his help. Now after that, you have Bessie tell the rest of Knights of X they have to go to a particular area in Otherworld known as Blythespoke, because Blythespoke belongs to a certain kind of people who are technically allies to the witch breed. But right now, if Merilyn is using Blythewell that comes from Blythespoke, that means that something happened to them as well. And so of course you have the Knights of X leave to make sure that their allies in Blythespoke are okay. Now when Bessie's group actually arrives in Blythespoke, they realize that Blythespoke is right now being overrun by the forces of Merilyn. And this is of course a problem, because right now they're trying to find their allies, but unfortunately they cannot find their allies because this entire area is right now being overrun by the forces of Merilyn. But this is just another example right now when it comes to Merilyn, because right now Merilyn is very serious about the idea of getting rid of anybody who's technically on the side of the mutants. even though right now he has no idea that Lady Roma, his own daughter, is actually housing almost every single mutant in the actual Otherworld area. Either way right now, you have our hero say, we have to take out the forces of Merilyn so that we're able to find our friends and figure out what in the world exactly happened here and to hopefully get them out of here as well. But then we actually see Betsy Braddock be able to find Sheriff Whitechapel. Now, Sheriff Whitechapel is actually, well, the sheriff of this area, but technically she was the ally that our heroes was looking for. And of course, right now, you have Whitechapel say that she got locked up not because she's a witch breed or a mutant. She got locked up because her group is technically a group of witch breeds, a group of mutants. And of course, she was not going to leave her men behind. And so that is why she also got locked up. But at the same time, they also used Blythe's Well on her and her crew as a way to cancel out their powers. Either way right now, you do have Betsy Braddock be able to free her and her group. But here's the thing, because you didn't have Whitechapel say, let them believe I died. Drop me in the pit, I'll survive, but I want the bad guys or the forces of Merilyn to believe that they have killed me off, because then that would put me in a better position to hurt them from the shadows. And so of course you have Betsy say, you know what, please do not be reckless, but at the same time, I'm going to follow your request. And so you do have Betsy Braddock drop Whitechapel, what seems to be a pool of lava, but at the same time though it's not. But either way, it's a way to make the forces of Merilyn believe that Whitechapel died, even though she did not die, but now she can attack from the shadows. Now, the other group of Knights right now, Knights of X, they're also dealing with something else in the Crooked Market. Because remember, they went to the Crooked Market to figure out what happened to Jim Jasper, but now they know. But the thing is, while they were trying to leave, they got attacked by more forces of Merilyn. And so this shows right now, this is Merilyn just making sure everything is clear in all areas where mutants used to be yet or mutants still go to. And so right now you have the Knights of X, this group right here, trying to protect the people of the Crooked Market, because some of these people are technically still witch breed. They are mutants. Either way right now, it's our heroes trying their best to fight against the forces of Merilyn. But the thing is though, they see that one of the forces of Merilyn, one of the Furies, is actually holding on to Jim Jasper. And right now it's Gambit saying, we have to free Jim Jasper, because if we don't and he dies in the hands of the Furies, right now that could break the rest of the people in the Crooked Market. And we want to make sure they stay happy and brave. And so right now our heroes are trying their best to defeat the Furies to hopefully save Jim Jasper. But getting back over to Betsy group, we kind of find out that right now they have snuck into another kingdom on accident, because they were trying to get out of Blightspoke. They basically ran into another area in Otherworld. The problem is though, they ran into a particular area better known as Sevilithi. And I really hope I pronounced that word correctly. But when it comes to Sevilithi, it's actually the home of the vampires of Otherworld, or creatures that are very similar to vampires in Otherworld. But either way right now, you have Betsy saying, I feel like right now we could be attacked by the Blood Drinkers. And this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.